Well, done a bit of work to the snowblowers since the last video. We took the chute off, took off the chute rotation mechanism, which is this thing. And it was bent up. The long straight pipe here with it had the pulleys on the ends for actually the cables that turn the chute. It was bent in the middle. And there was also a twist in this piece here where it holds out to the end where the cylinder pins. So I put it in the press and was able to get this part fairly much straighter and straighten this out a bit too. Problem, of course, is the cylinders are going to overpower the steel when the chute is frozen, so it's still got a bit of a curve on it this way, which not really much you can do about. It's welded here, it's welded on the other side. It would be pretty difficult to change all that and probably not worth it. And probably the thing I do with the chute on this thing one day is just change it to a hydraulic motor drive instead of the cylinder. But anyway, that's done. That's a little better. I should have taken a video before, but that had a bit of a bend in it and now it's much straighter. What else? We got this top link, the support here that goes from off here up to the top link. Took that out, and this bolt here was really difficult to get out of there, and there's rubber bushing in it, which is there to provide a shock absorption, I guess, when you let the blower down or when you hit a little rock or something. But that's only good as far as letting these arms move back and forth when the bolt down here has not been all welded around. And sometime in the past somebody just welded all around that, and now the bolt's hardly doing anything. So I'm not going to bother to undo that, because fixing that back to the way it should be would be pretty difficult, and these hitches the part here is sort of a known weak point on these things. So instead of putting a rubber bushing in the piece back here, probably just going to try to find a steel bushing. What else? The drum, the linkage that turns the drum here is pretty sloppy and worn. I'm going to try to put some split shims in there, but it's welded on this end and welded here, so it's not like you can take it out and put in washers or anything. Found a little problem with the frame here. I know the sunlight's strong. I'll try to show it with the camera, but up here there's a couple of holes rusted in it, and up there. And you're going to probably have to try to clean that up and weld a patch around it. Have a couple of cracks right there, right in there where this piece goes on. I took the side shaft off of the gearbox, and this side end plate here, that's up there now. And yeah, there's bent metal, there's some things, some rusted out parts on that shield to fix. Right against here, out here, it's pretty beat up because obviously the chain broke a few times and then gets wrapped around the side shaft. And the side shaft, I'll show you that in a minute, but the sprocket's pretty worn and the splines are getting worn, and we got another problem going on with it, so we may have to make a new one of those. What else here? We got the drift cutters cut off because they were welded on, which I don't like. I'd rather them bolted on. And they were really bent up too. So we cut those off, and I'm going to make new ones, but I'm going to bolt them on after I clean up all the old weld here, and I'm going to make drift cutters that I can bolt on, and then I only put them on when I need them. The augers, that's probably the next thing we're going to go after as far as trying to straighten the central shaft of this, since we think it's got around a 1/2, 3/4 of an inch of bend in it. And what that then results in is then the sprocket doesn't run true, which is a bit of a problem. You can maybe see it in the video here, I'm not sure. It's got a bit of a wobble to it, but it's not a huge problem because this one isn't bent very much. I've had to deal with much worse, but still I'd like it to be straight. The other thing is this sprocket is for number 60 chain, which is good. Number 80 is better, but the new ones are 80, this one's a 60. But as you can see, it's getting a bit worn, so I think if we get the auger out, I'm going to try to turn the sprocket around and get a few more years out of it. What else here? The flighting needs to be, like, it's bent here. The flighting's bent just about everywhere. Like, it's bent here. It's really bent here. That's going to be a bit of a job to straighten. And yeah, it's got welded back together even there. I'm going to have to try to clean that up a little better. And then we're going to have to go after the fan. That's going to need to be, somebody welded that in there, but it's got to come out. I don't like that being welded on there. It's not supposed to be. And we may try to put a liner in the drum still. But this is the side shaft out of the snowblower. Just ignore all the messy bench in the background. But the shear bolt connection is here. Like, you put a bolt through those holes, or the ones on the other side there. And then when the auger hits something, then it's supposed to break the bolt, and then this will spin freely, or the shaft will keep spinning, and this part will stop with the auger. Oftentimes people put too big a head bolts in them, and then they don't break. Instead it breaks the auger, it breaks the chain, something else happens. But, oh well. So this thing, the real problem with this shaft is the shear bolt mechanism is okay. The holes eventually get ovaled out and then they break the bolts in a hurry. Somebody welded in an insert on this side, and that's fine. Problem is the sprocket is pretty well gone. Like, it's worn, it's got some burrs on it, it doesn't have a lot of life left. It's a 12-tooth number 60, and those are kind of rare, but especially to get them over a 1 1/4 inch shaft. The bigger problem, though, is right at the end here. Not sure if the camera's going to focus. Well, there it goes. But the end of the shaft here, where it goes into the bearing, the bearing set screws were never tightened right, I guess. So what happened was it spun in the bearing a bit, and then the shaft is now tapered, and it doesn't fit tightly in the bearing. So that means there's just a lot of looseness in the side shaft. It's harder on the chains. It's harder on the splines where it goes into the gearbox. It's just generally not good. It means it would be much more likely to fall apart in the middle of a snowstorm or something. So I'm not sure if you can buy these shafts new. We're going to have to find that out. They're probably a little expensive. I had to build one for another blower a little while back, but that one had a 15-tooth sprocket on it, and that's doable. But getting a 12-tooth sprocket on this 1 1/4 inch shaft is kind of difficult, so we'll have to see, and I'll make another video when I know what we're doing.